Thank you for attending our ConnectALL demo today. We're going to demo ClearQuest and Jira integration through ConnectALL. Tell you a little bit about who we are. We're a go-to group. We've been in business over 10 years now. We started in business doing ClearCase and Perforce consulting, and then branched off about 7 or 8 years ago into working with other SCM tools, in addition to getting involved with Atlassian and Jira and DevTrack, several other tools within the ALM space. We're a global team. We're based in Baltimore. We run Tokyo Atlassian, the office there, and we also have some development facilities over in Asia. Currently, we're actually more than 30, around 40 full-time employees. All of our work is done through our partners. So we have partners such as Hewlett Packard and Atlassian and IBM and Salesforce, et cetera, et cetera. We also have a lot of clients. Over the years, we've probably had over 1,000 clients just with our Jam product, which does the integration between Quality Center and Jira. We have over 200 clients. So what do? On the services side, we do a lot of just working with our customers, consulting, helping them install Atlassian products. We might customize the product for them or configure it. We also do training. We're all software engineers, so we're very much into the software development space. So we really can understand what your problems are and what issues that you're having in your software development environments. In addition to doing the consulting side, we also have a product development side of the company. And that's the side of the company that does the integrations that we're going to talk about today, including ConnectALL. Of course, the bottom line is connections, connecting whether it's the systems or ideas or people or your applications. That's what it's all about. About 6 or 7 years ago, we developed our first couple of integrations with Quality Center and Jira called Jam, and between Jira and Salesforce called our CRM plugin. Those were point-to-point plugins. In other words, they would communicate between one Jira and one Quality Center. Since then, more and more customers have come to us and asking for a multi-point solution to integrate 10 Jiras and 10 Quality Centers. And that's what ConnectALL is all about, integrating all of your systems and your processes and your people between your multiple applications. So ConnectALL, of course, is a platform. It's a shrink wrap application that's easily installed on your servers, but it's also a framework. So maybe you have a custom application, or you might have custom business rules. So ConnectALL has a framework and an API so that you can extend ConnectALL without having to modify the source code. So that's a real big advantage of ConnectALL. Of course, it's all about the knowledge sharing across your entire enterprise, and easy installation and easy configuration, of course, is also another key feature. So in the end, it's all about integrating your sales, your different departments, sales, support desk, operations, and also your different applications, whether they're test management, CRM, ALM. That's what ConnectALL does for you. And how does it do that? Well, ConnectALL is based on a MuleSoft ESB product called Mule. And it's a commercial product. And most of the work, ConnectALL depends on Mule to do the work for us. So for example, communications with remote applications or reliable message delivery or distributed transaction rollback, all of those features are available from MuleSoft. And then ConnectALL, what we've done is added a nice user interface layer on top of that. So it's easy to map your applications, and then some what they call flows on the Mule server to actually communicate and map the information between your applications. So before the demo, one last slide. This is showing the data that's coming into ConnectALL, maybe from a web service that you wrote. More typically polling a remote application. The data comes into a request queue. Once it's in the request queue, the data is persistent. Even if a mule should go down at that point, the messages are not lost. So once the data is in the request queue, it's processed. Maybe it's manipulated by your business rules, and it's sent to the destination application. There's also a feedback loop so that if the updates to the remote application typically are handled in 10 milliseconds and now they're taking 10 seconds, well, an email can be sent to your administrator. You better take a look at your application to see what's going on. Maybe your network or your database is getting slow. So that was all of the slides. Sorry for that boring part, but now we have some examples of what the user interface looks like. So this is the user interface that we use to map applications in ConnectALL. So they can be maybe two applications like Jira and Doors or Jira and Quality Center. Of course, that's what we're talking about today. So let me show you what that mapping looks like. Once we create that mapping, we're actually mapping between two different servers. So here's the URL and the user, the administration user for Jira, and the same thing over on the ClearQuest side. And then also we can map different date formats. Maybe you have a US server and a European server, so you need to match your date formats. Attachments, we can synchronize entire attachments if you'd like. Some customers have really large attachments, 700, 800 megabyte attachments. So they don't want to synchronize all that data between two different applications. So what we can do is just store the URL in both applications if you would like. And we can render the URL in several different ways. Wiki markup for Jira or HTML if you like. In addition to this administrator user that's used to find this metadata to be able to do the mapping, we also have a synchronization user. So the synchronization user can be of lower permission, less authority than your administrator user. This is the user that would be used to sync the information on a minute-by-minute basis. So then we map the projects between the different applications. So here we have a project over in Jira called ClearQuest for the requirement issue types. And then over in ClearQuest, we have a record and a database and a repo where the data will be synchronized to and from. In ConnectALL, we also have a conflict management algorithm. So for example, say the same field is changed in the same record in two different applications at the same time. What will ConnectALL do? Well, in this particular scenario, we've selected the master-slave conflict management strategy, which means that one application or the other would win and an email would be sent to the administrator to note that a conflict occurred, maybe a manual modification of the record might be necessary. So last of all are the mapping of the fields between the applications. You can see that typically we would map like the summary of the issue to the headline over in ClearQuest, and priorities and severities, those values may not always map. So in addition to field mapping, we can also do field mapping. Notice these green arrows, they're going in both direction or maybe only in one direction. That means that that's the direction of the data flow. So typically you would want like the summary value and the headline value to be synchronized between the two systems. But say the issue ID on Jira, you only want that to be pushed over to a custom field over in ClearQuest. That's what this arrow means. So once you've created your mapping and you like how it works, maybe you want to modify it. So you can click on the modify application link. And what that does is that allows you to modify any of the previous settings that we've made. For example, the URLs, or the entities that are being mapped, or the individual fields. Up in the top here, you can see all the fields that we found by querying the application. So you don't have to manually type in the fields. So for example, we have on Jira side, we have the assignee field and maybe a due date field. And then over in ClearQuest, we have a similar list of all of the fields that ClearQuest is telling us about. And then when we want to map a field, all we do is select a field on one side, select a field on the other side, and then we choose what direction we want the synchronization to occur in, maybe just in that direction. Clicking on the plus sign, and that added the field to the bottom of the screen. So once you're all done with your mapping, you would save it, and all your configurations are always versioned. So let's say the change that we made here was add components to the field mapping. And we could save it. And then in addition to saving it, we can also load a previous version. So maybe I made a change to the mapping and it's not working well, so I want to go back to a previous mapping, so I could just select this mapping and load that. Something else that I could do are also when I create a new application link, it's kind of tiresome to create all of the field mappings on each side. So we have a default set of fields for each of the application pairs. So that makes it a little bit easier to get started. So once you've done all this, you save the mapping, and now the server side can start synchronizing the data. From the user's perspective, the synchronization of data is very transparent. They don't really see what might be going on. It's very transparent to them. So I might create a new test issue over on the Jira side. I have a Jira project called ClearQuest, and according to the mapping, defines what fields would go over to the ClearQuest when this issue is created. We can map attachments if we would like. Comments are also sent over. So once you finish creating that, then that issue is created over on ClearQuest. It takes a minute for ConnectALL to poll it, and it would send that data over. And while we're waiting for that poll to occur, let me show you another tool that comes with here it is. Another tool that comes with MuleSoft. This is the MuleSoft Studio. This is an application that um, allows you to insert your own business logic into a flow. This is what the flow looks like on the server side. In other words, this is the processing of the message as it comes in from the source application, for example, Jira, and sends it over to the destination application like ClearQuest. And maybe somewhere within this flow, you want to modify the data before it's sent over to ClearQuest. So what you can do is you can put in, maybe you have a Java program or a script that you've written, and you want to use that to modify the data before it's sent over. So this would be an example of how you would do that. Just drag in your Python script, for example, and just start typing in whatever you want to modify the particular message. Something as simple as this. And that would grab the summary field, and then you can do whatever you want with it. So that's an example of how you can use Mule Studio, which is a free add-on actually from MuleSoft. And over in ClearQuest, as we can see, it has a ClearQuest ID on the Jira screen. If we click that, we go over to ClearQuest, And we can see that a related requirement has been created over in ClearQuest. Some of the fields were mapped like headline and description. We also synchronized over an attachment. So now let's modify our requirement on ClearQuest and synchronize that back to Jira. I'm going to fix my misspelling. So in a minute or so, ConnectALL will pick up that change and it will synchronize it back to Jira. Let's see if that's happened yet. So we can see the description was fixed. So this is just a simple example of how you can use ConnectALL to synchronize data between your applications. It supports any of the custom fields or date time field, checkboxes, select list, any of the fields that you have in Jira can be synchronized over to ClearQuest and vice versa. If you'd like to find some more information about ConnectALL, you can go to our website at gotogroup.com/products. Give us a call, or you can send us an email at sales@gotogroup.com. Thanks for your time today. I hope you enjoy the recording.